Joining me now, Rodney Demery, homicide detective, author of the book No Place for Race. Rodney, it is good to have you back here on America's Forum. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
So, do you agree with Rudy Giuliani? Should Mayor de Blasio apologize to the NYPD?
Oh, he absolutely should. And I think Mr. Giuliani's points were right on point. The fact that the mayor, the current mayor, de Blasio, created such an impression or the appearance that he was on the side of the protesters is probably what made those officers react the way they did, especially at the funeral of the slain officer. That's a very, very painful thing for officers to accept, the death of one of their own. I'm in Louisiana, and we mourn that death. For the mayor to interject race politics into the debate early on is probably what created that environment.
Rodney, you mentioned the fact that you're a police officer, or actually a homicide detective in Louisiana, I believe specifically in Shreveport.
Correct.
You're also an African American. In the old days, that was taken to put two and two together, where there has to be racial strife and a racial tone permeating the police department in Shreveport, Louisiana. Have you ever felt that way, and have you ever felt that your department did not have the support of the city administration?
No, actually not, especially with race relations. And I think that's a thing that we're very fortunate of. But unfortunately, the common theme throughout the country is that race politics are what motivates most politicians nowadays. If they can appear to be on the side of the majority or the side that they think is going to support them, they're going to go that way. When you lead a police department, such as a position of a mayor, and you seem to have a distrust in your own officers, and you seem to believe that the protesters are right about this mistreatment that your officers, that you're supposed to be leading or sending out there, it's just not a very good situation to be in, especially for the police officers. It's a very, very dangerous job. We don't take for granted that we may go to work one day and not come home that night, but unfortunately, some administrators and some politicians do. They don't believe it's going to happen. I'm certain that if the mayor of New York would have really realized the danger in that job, some of the comments he made early on, he would have never made them. It's unfortunate because most police officers, whether they're black, white, Latino, we realize one thing. Our job is to protect people, and for the most part, 99.99% of the officers don't really care what race, color, or creed a person is. They go out and they do their job effectively. But when you are faced with folks attacking, or making asinine statements like, the police kill black people or the police kill, whomever, we know the reality. The reality is that there are very few people that are killed by the police officers. And it's unfortunate. We never want to do it. The reality is that when you look at close to 6,000 black people dying annually at the hands of black people, and it's almost just pushed away as if it doesn't exist, it's kind of tough to deal with. To compound that, you have the leader of that department kind of co-signing what some of the radicals are saying, and it's very disappointing.
About a minute remains in this segment, Rodney. Shreveport, Louisiana, we heard in the post-civil rights protest era, a lot of people talked about the New South. 30 seconds remain here to offer your assessment of the here and now in Shreveport. Obviously, there have to be some challenges to law enforcement, but do you believe, by and large, your police force and the municipal governance there is, quote, colorblind?
I don't know that colorblind will ever exist anywhere, but I do know that we are a very diverse police department. Of course, there are going to be those that have their attitudes on the streets that believe that there are racist officers. There may be some police officers within the department that believe that, but overall, and I think this is true anywhere, police officers, we just don't involve ourselves in that. In fact, we may even debate it amongst them ourselves. But at the end of the day, we know that we're there to protect each other.
Fair enough. Rodney, we'll continue this conversation right after this break.